3 families. 3 different towns. 3 Halloween nights that none of them will ever forget. If you ever feel like someone, or something, is walking behind you on a night like this, trust that feeling. If this video kept you up a little later than you planned, hit subscribe. New terrifying true stories drop every week, right here on Midnight Masquerade. Lock your doors. Leave your porch light on. And I'll see you in the next one. True trick-or-treating horror stories. If you're watching this alone, at night, with your porch light off, you might want to turn it back on. Let's begin. It was October 31st, 2014. Marcus was 10 years old, and this was the first year her parents let her go trick-or-treating without an adult, as long as she stayed with her older brother, Danny, who was 13. Their neighborhood was the kind every kid dreams of for Halloween. Every house decorated. Every porch light on. Fake spiderweb stretched across mailboxes, plastic skeletons hanging from trees. Marcus remembers the night being warm for late October. No jacket needed. Just her witch costume, a plastic pumpkin bucket, and her brother's flashlight app lighting the sidewalk in front of them. They hit the first house. Full-size candy bars. The second house, a family friend, gave out homemade caramel apples. Then they reached the third house. Marcus says she remembers stopping at the end of the driveway before her brother did. Something about the house felt wrong. Every other house on the street had its porch light on, the universal signal for trick-or-treaters welcome. This house's porch light was off. But the front door was open. Just a crack. And from inside, they could hear music. Slow. Old-sounding. Like a record player. Danny said, "Lights off, let's skip it." Em agreed. They started walking away. That's when they heard a voice from the driveway behind them. "Don't you want your candy?" Marcus said the voice didn't sound like it came from the house. It sounded like it came from right behind her. She turned around. There was no one there. The driveway was empty. But the front door, which had been cracked open a second ago, was now standing wide open. And the music had stopped. Danny grabbed her hand and they ran. Not walked, ran, 3 houses down, until they reached a home with people visibly on the porch handing out candy. They didn't tell their parents that night. Kids rarely do. They figured it was just an older sibling prank, or their imagination running wild on a spooky night. But 2 days later, Marcus' mother was talking to a neighbor at the mailbox. The neighbor mentioned, almost as an afterthought, that the house at the end of the cul-de-sac, the third house, had been empty for over a year. The previous owner, an elderly man who lived alone, had passed away inside that house. He wasn't found for almost 3 weeks. No one had bought the house since. No one was supposed to be inside it that night. Marcus says to this day, every Halloween, when her family drives past that house, the porch light is always off. But sometimes, just for a second, as the car passes, the front door is open. In the fall of 2011, a group of 5 teenagers, all around 15 and 16, decided they were too old for regular trick-or-treating in their own neighborhood. So they came up with something they thought would be more fun. They'd drive out to the township roads on the edge of town, the rural stretch where houses were spaced far apart, surrounded by cornfields, and go trick-or-treating there instead. Fewer crowds. More candy per house, they figured. Bigger houses meant bigger bags of candy. One of the boys, we'll call him Chris, had just gotten his license. He borrowed his mom's minivan, and the 5 of them piled in around 7 p.m., costumes half thrown together, pillowcases instead of buckets. The first few houses were normal. Nice, even. One woman gave them full bags of chips because she said, "You're basically doing me a favor, I bought way too much candy." Then they reached a house near the very end of the road. Set back from the street. No streetlights out there, just their headlights and the moon. The house had no decorations. No pumpkin. But there was a single light on, upstairs, in what looked like an attic window. Chris waited in the van. The other 4 walked up. They knocked. No answer. One of the girls, Amanda, knocked again. This time, they heard footsteps. Slow. Coming from inside, getting louder, like someone was walking down a staircase one deliberate step at a time. The door opened. Standing there was a man. Tall. Completely still. He wasn't wearing a costume, at least, they didn't think he was. He was just, standing in the doorway, staring at them, saying nothing. Amanda said, "Trick or treat," out of nervous habit more than anything else. The man didn't move. Didn't speak. He just kept staring, not at the group as a whole, but specifically at one of the boys, Marcus, standing at the back. Then, without breaking eye contact with Marcus, the man said one sentence. "I know your father." Marcus's father had passed away 6 months earlier. No one in the group had told this man anything. No one in the group had ever seen this man before in their life. They didn't wait to hear anything else. They ran back to the van. Chris didn't even ask questions, he saw their faces and just drove. On the drive back, Marcus didn't say a word. When they dropped him off at his house that night, he asked Chris to wait until he was inside with the door locked before driving away. The group went back to that road, in daylight, about a week later, just to see the house again, out of morbid curiosity. The house was still there. But it looked like no one had lived in it for years. Windows boarded. Grass overgrown. No car in the driveway, no sign that a light had ever been on in that attic window. They never went back to that road again. In 2017, Kayla was 17 and babysitting 2 kids, a 6-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl, while their parents attended a Halloween party across town. Her job was simple: take the kids trick-or-treating around the block, bring them home by 8:30, and put them to bed by 9. It started like any normal night. The kids were dressed as a superhero and a princess. Kayla walked a few steps behind them with a flashlight, checking her phone occasionally, waving to other parents on the sidewalk. Around 8 p.m., she noticed someone behind them. A figure in a plain black hoodie, hood up, no visible costume, walking maybe 30 feet back. Not trick-or-treating. Not talking to anyone. Just, walking. At the same pace as them. Kayla assumed it was just another teenager, maybe someone's older sibling like Danny in the first story. She didn't think much of it. But every time they turned a corner, the figure turned too. Every time they stopped at a house, the figure stopped too, always at the same distance, never closer, never farther. By the 4th house, Kayla started walking faster, pulling the kids along, telling them they were trying to hit more houses before it got too late. The kids didn't notice anything. They were too excited about candy to look behind them. Kayla decided to cut the route short and headed back toward the house 2 blocks early. That's when the figure closed the distance. Fast. Almost jogging. Kayla grabbed both kids' hands and picked up her pace to almost a run, pretending it was a game, last one home is a rotten egg, to keep the kids from panicking. They reached the front porch. Kayla fumbled with the keys. Right as the door opened, she looked back one last time. The figure was standing at the edge of the driveway. Not moving. Just standing there, hood still up, facing the house directly. Kayla got the kids inside, locked the door, and called the parents immediately. The parents came home within 15 minutes. Nothing else happened that night. The figure was gone by the time they checked. But here's the detail Kayla still can't explain. Their neighborhood has doorbell cameras on almost every house. When the family later asked around, 3 separate neighbors confirmed their cameras caught a hooded figure walking that same stretch of sidewalk that night. In every single clip, the figure's face, under the hood, is never visible. Not because of shadow. Not because of angle. In every clip, right where the face should be, the footage is just static. Kayla never babysat for that family again.